What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Benchwarmer Sports. And I know it's been a little bit of a minute since we've had this sit down type of discussion and format on this channel, but I finally have a little bit of time to talk to you guys about the Cleveland Browns. But before I want to get into today's video, I just have to say thank you guys so much for all of your support on the last video that I did. We were at over 5,000 views on that video, which is just absolutely insane. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed and you just found this channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We do a lot of Cleveland sports type of content and just a lot of football content or sports content in general. So if you like sports content here on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns. Yes, the 9-5 Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, for the first time in a long, long time, have a positive trajectory for the future. And I know I will say that again. I cannot believe I said that, but the Browns and continued success in the future in the same sentence is a real thing, because we finally have, in my opinion, we finally have a head coach who knows what the hell he's doing. And if you guys have been around long enough to know my stance about Kevin Stefanski from last year, you will know that I have done a complete 180 on this guy. Last year, I think I was one of the leading people on, Browns YouTube trying to get this guy out of town. And I will 100% full on say I was wrong. I was wrong about Kevin Stefanski, because right now we are seeing a guy who is just absolutely making the most out of the least out of anybody in this league. We have seen what has happened to other teams who've lost their quarterbacks for long periods of time. We saw what happened with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Robert Saleh and the rest of the Jets have no answer for whatever the hell has happened to Zach Wilson or Trevor Siemian or Tim Boyle. They have tried 4 different quarterbacks, and they have all sucked. The Jets are out of the playoff race. You have that going on. Then you have in Cincinnati, Jake Browning has absolutely stunned a lot of people, and he's doing good. In Indianapolis, Gardner Minshew has led the Indianapolis Colts to 8-6 after Anthony Richardson had to go down earlier in the year with a shoulder injury. You have a ton of guys and a ton of teams with quarterback injuries who have gone out for the year, but Kevin Stefanski somehow, someway, has had the most success after being one of the only 8 teams in NFL history of winning a game with 4 different starting quarterbacks. And the Browns are 2 of those teams, because they had to do that back in 1988 when Bernie Kosar had a shoulder injury. And now they're doing it again this year. And I think they're the first team in NFL history to have 4 different starting quarterbacks lead game-winning drives. You had Deshaun Watson with Baltimore, you had PJ Walker with San Francisco and Indianapolis, you had DTR with the Steelers, and now you have Joe Flacco with the Chicago Bears. But the main focus of this video that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I kind of wanted to get off my chest, is that the Cleveland Browns, I think, are finally here to stay. And the number one reason why that is because you finally have a head coach who knows what the hell he's doing. You do not have a Freddie Kitchens type of scenario on your hands, where the guy is clearly in over his head after the first game you saw against Tennessee. You don't have a Mike Pettin scenario where ownership is just absolutely down the gullet of Kyle Shanahan and Mike Pettin, because they want to get their quarterback that they drafted, who did not watch a single minute of film, did not look at anything in the playbook. They wanted to get that guy in. You don't have that going on. You don't have, Romeo Crennel type of situation where you have Derek Anderson going off for 1 year and then absolutely shit in the bed next year. And then you have to play Brady Quinn, and he sucks too. So you don't have that situation. But for the first time in my lifetime, since I was born in 2001, and I have seen plenty of bad football. I've known nothing about the 1980s. I've only heard stories about the 80s Browns, or the Cardiac Kids Browns, or Jim Brown, or Paul Brown, or Otto Graham, or Lou Groza. I have heard stories. I have never seen competent football. All of my life has been mediocre or horrible football from the Cleveland Browns. And for the first time in a long, long time, the Browns actually look like they can build something of a good football team. And that is absolutely mind boggling for me to say out loud or for me to think, but it's true because Kevin Stefanski has somehow willed this team, has absolutely grouped this team together to become one of the most, dare I say, one of the best teams in football. They are one of the best teams in football. Now, they're hurt to hell and back. They're 26% of the salary is on IR, with Deshaun Watson, Jack Conklin, Nick Chubb making up the bulk of it. But what this season has shown me is that Kevin Stefanski has the locker room. He has the locker room. He has his players' attention right now. And that is something that we have been craving for as Browns fans for so long. What was the narrative around Mike Tomlin for the last 15 years? Mike Tomlin knows how to get his guys motivated. He knows how to get his team to rally around one another and to somehow, some way, even when things look bleak, even when Big Ben, has a messed up elbow, he can't do anything. You have to play Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph in 2019. You have to have, Big Ben tears his ACL. What's been the narrative about Mike Tomlin and the Steelers? They know how to rally around each other, and somehow, some way, Mike Tomlin will will this team, the Steelers, to being over 500 and potentially being in the playoffs. He has done that for 15 years, and guess what? The one time where he's actually having trouble of doing that, they're calling for his head in Pittsburgh. Right now, we're seeing that with Kevin Stefanski right now. We saw after 2020, Baker Mayfield looked good. He had 28 touchdowns and 6 picks, or 26 touchdowns and 8 picks. Nick Chubb was going great. Jarvis Landry looked pretty decent. The Browns looked like a good football team. And then you had injuries derail the season, and Baker Mayfield acting like a man-child in 2021 derailed that season. Then you had in 2022, the Deshaun Watson saga. You thought he was going to be out for only 4 to 6 games. Turns out he gets out for 11 games. Season's basically over. You have Jacoby Brissett and horrible defense, maybe all-time bad defense on that side last season. But now, when Kevin Stefanski is able to make a change after a mistake with Joe Woods, he brings in someone like Jim Schwartz, who has had a historic trend of having a great defense, Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator with the Eagles. Now, Kevin Stefanski is able to show you that the Cleveland Browns and himself are here to stay. And now we are finally having, for the first time in my life, a conversation about an extension for a head coach and for a GM. Now, personally, I'm still a little bit wary on Andrew Berry. I still think he's made a lot of mistakes. I'm still not forgiving him for last year for punting on the season when he knew clear and well that the linebacking room and the defensive tackle room was downright putrid, and he decided not to do anything with it. But for the first time, this Browns team is fun. This Browns team is very, very fun. It's fun to watch Cleveland Browns football. I said that right. It is fun to watch Cleveland Browns football. We are finally seeing a personality and a certain mold that what Browns fans have been craving for the last 20 years finally coming to fruition with this regime. Because Kevin Stefanski, we have been craving stuff like the Steelers. We have been craving stuff like John Harbaugh and the Ravens. Somehow, some way, John Harbaugh is able to win with Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson and never miss a beat. Never miss a beat. For some reason, the Browns were just never able to do that. And finally, we are able to see that Kevin Stefanski, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think in 5 to 7 years, we're going to see Kevin Stefanski in the same conversation as guys like Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. We're going to see him in conversations like that because I definitely think he's the right guy to lead this football team in this franchise. Because Kevin Stefanski, for all that we've known about him for the last 4 years, this guy is even-keeled. He is, steady. While the whole thing with Haslam is that they are emotional, they make emotional decisions, Kevin Stefanski is as even-keel as they come. And for the first time, we are actually seeing Kevin Stefanski show emotion on the sideline and in media press conferences. I've said this too. Seeing Kevin Stefanski show emotion on the sideline is sort of like watching your dad cry for the first time, where it feels very weird. It feels very, very weird to see that, but then you realize that they actually do have emotions, and that, you know, like that, like they're human just like the rest of us, and that, you know, they're okay to show their softer side. That it's sort of like that. When I watched Kevin Stefanski run down the sideline after seeing the Darnell Mooney drop that Hail Mary, you pretty much was like, wow, this guy's showing emotions for the first time. He's showing that he's not just stagnant Kevin Stefanski in the meme that we all know and love, where he's staring at his Denny's play sheet and he's just, you know, straight face, stone face Kev. This guy's actually having fun. He seems like he's having fun, and he's finally able to show it outwardly and publicly. It is so freaking fun to watch Cleveland Browns football. Now, the Browns have 3 games left, and they are still in contention for the division and the number 1 seed in the AFC. This season has gone so far beyond bonkers. It defies imagination. It defies imagination. If you would have said to anybody, if you would have gone to your grandmother or your grandfather, whoever is in your family with a coma, and you had to say, by the way, you know how we were supposed to go into the season with Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb and all these other guys? Well, yeah, say Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, they're both out for the year. They ended their season around game 10. Both of them are out by game 10. Then you had to have Joe Flacco come in and play games with you, and you had to have 4 different quarterbacks. You had to play 4 different quarterbacks. You're second in the league in terms of most turnovers, and, you know, the whole season is going up and down. You probably would have said that this team was probably, you know, 5-9. But Kevin Stefanski somehow, some way, has led this team to become 9-5. I'm going to say this again. For the first time in a long time, the Browns have an upward trajectory in terms of success and in terms of future success. That's the word, future success. The Browns have it right in their grasp. And I think basically what I want to say is that Kevin Stefanski, I am sorry. I am sorry for wanting you to be fired last year. I am sorry about that. I think you deserve Coach of the Year, and I hope you get it. I hope you get an extension. But now season ain't over. There's 3 more games left to go until you get to the playoffs. And for the first time, I'm actually excited because I think this team can go on a run somehow, some way. Because this season, if it's taught us anything, this season is not going to go the way that we thought it would go. None of us thought that this would be the case, that the Browns would be 9-5 with Joe Flacco as the quarterback of the Browns. If you told me this on September 10th, Joe Flacco is going to be the quarterback leading you into the playoffs, I thought you were crazy. But I think the number one thing that I want to tell people is that Stefanski deserves to be praised this year. And I think that the conversation and debate about Stefanski has finally ended. And I'm going to give him his flowers this year. I'll give him his flowers this year. I am absolutely ecstatic. I cannot wait for what the Browns have in store the next 4 weeks before we get to the playoffs. And I'm very confident in Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns, and I cannot believe I'm saying that because that's the first time in such a long time that I think anybody has felt about the Cleveland Browns. I think right now I am more confident and more sure in the Cleveland Browns than I was in 2020, and that's saying a lot. That is saying a lot. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any comments, let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think about Kevin Stefanski? Do you guys like what he's been doing this season? Let me know down in the comments section below. Hit the like button, and if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet and you like Cleveland sports or you just like sports in general, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for 700. Hopefully we get up to 1,000 here by the end of the NFL season. We're going to be doing a special live stream Christmas Eve for the Browns-Texans game. So make sure you guys have notifications turned on so you guys know when I go live for the live watch along for the Browns-Texans game on Christmas Eve. We did it last year with the Browns-Saints. We're going to do it once again here with the Browns-Texans. So make sure you guys hit that notification button so you guys are always notified when I go live or just when I upload. But thank you guys so much for your support. I will see you guys all in another video. Take care.